She said, "Are you wearing a skivvy and you're trying to crack onto me?" And I went, "Yep." She said, "No chance, champ."
It was my time. I was, fairly out there.
Friends would drop over on their horse and, would have cracker night. It was a very free time.
The 80s was when Australia actually did change. Hawke and Keating opened up the economy. They deregulated the dollar.
The 80s was interesting for me because I arrived having no idea about Australian culture.
In the decades beforehand, a lot of Australia really saw themselves as just being a British outpost, and that was beginning to change. And in the 80s, for the first time, we were starting to have famous Australians make an impact internationally.
He was that person that was always on TV, and I think in my head he was like the Prime Minister. Like, he just kind of owned Australia.
There was nothing this man could do. I loved every single thing he did. No matter how crass or how politically incorrect or whatever it was.
He was beloved by Americans and he was the reference point. It led to billions of dollars of money flowing into the tourism industry.
I remember going to the Royal Easter Show. I was in Sydney when I was little, getting a Madonna show bag with virgin bands that you'd wear.
The person I wanted to look like was Michael J. Fox. He had really cool shoes, Nikes, and he had tight jeans, blue check shirt, and a red puffer vest over the top of it, and a skateboard.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to be.
I remember just so desperately wanting the bubble skirt.
I went from skin-tight rocker black jeans and I ended up in MC Hammer pants.
If I was going out somewhere, I would probably pin 3 sets of shoulder pads together.
I used to have a little green truckies hat that Mum had sewn the coat of arms on, so it looked like an Australian baggy green. So I was just this pudgy little kid with his hat, with his coat of arms, thinking I was playing in the Australian cricket team.
I remember trying to crack onto a girl at a party. I had a blue skivvy on and stubbies.
The side ponytail crimped was awesome.
I think you could have pulled it off. Still could today.
Did. Thank you.
Big fringes, just ridiculous.
Yeah, but behind the ears, masses of hair.
Did you have that?
Oh, a much shorter version.
We would do that to our fringe. So you tease, hairspray, and then do the comb back.
I've always been a bit obsessed with particularly female newsreaders of the time because they had to sort of craft that look of the shoulder pads and the big hair and the very composed face and everything. So they were really quite a progressive development. But then on the other hand, they were also terribly constricted about, the kind of persona they could have and the kind of stories they could report on.
I was a massive fan of Jana Wendt. I thought she was fantastic. I thought she spoke so confidently and she had this fantastic voice. All female newsreaders had fabulously deep voices.
The men always seemed to be voices of God. And in some ways, they almost felt like they were a bit sort of like royalty and that they were always meant to be stately, almost ceremonial, and no matter what was happening in the world, you could tune into them and they were absolutely composed.
For me, news was about family because it was about sitting in the TV room before dinner and watching the news.
It's a real decade of contradictions, I think, because on one hand, it was conservative era, pretty strict roles for men and women and everything. But then on the other hand, you could switch on MTV and suddenly be seeing aspects of the culture that were, completely new and different to decades prior.
What a formidable decade. Where can you go from here?
The 80s was my time and, I had a great time. I wouldn't change anything.
Don't remember much of the 80s. What I do remember was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.